Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil karim wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Saudara Profesor Dr. Humayun Dar, mantan Presiden Maldives, Dr. Wahid, Dr. Naim, dan rakan-rakan yang saya muliakan, syukur Alhamdulillah kita dapat bersama-sama untuk meraihkan penggerak, pengasas dan rakan-rakan yang menjayakan institusi kewangan negara dan yang menggesa dan melakar satu kerangka perbankan dan kewangan Islam yang bertapak segar, dan saya percaya penghargaan ini kepada mereka semua, dan saya hanya satu wakil kecil untuk menerima bagi pihak semua penggerak yang telah berjasa berkhidmat jauh lebih handal, jauh lebih bermakna dari apa yang mampu saya lakukan. Tetapi bersama ini juga satu cabaran, yaitu bagaimana mampu kita angkat keupayaan sistem kewangan Islam ini menurut kerangka maqasid syariah yang disebut tadi, soal keadilan, soal pemerataan, yang bukan saja memilih untuk menjadi suatu alternatif sampingan, tetapi memberikan satu harapan baru dengan kekuatan dan instrumen yang lebih lengkap dan komprehensif. So, Dr. Mayun and colleagues, may I express again my profound gratitude to the Global Islamic Finance Leadership Committee for the award. And I've said, which I alluded to earlier, it is meant for those who played a very significant role from the beginning, the activists, the thinkers, the academicians, the visionaries, and the players. I am just accepting on their behalf, because compared to their commitment, their sacrifice, and their full dedication, my role is just to further encourage. But this journey, as I've said, has always been collective. Our regulators combined prudence with foresight to build a resilient framework. Our financial institutions embrace innovation to provide Sharia-compliant solutions at scale. Our universities nurtured world-class scholars and thinkers whose ideas continue to inspire Islamic finance community. And again, people like you, our international partners, have worked alongside us, at times giving us the encouragement, the support, proving that Islamic finance is strongest when it builds on collaboration and mutual respect. But this sort of award to those who have served with dedication and commitment is meant to encourage them further, to ensure that they excel in this practice. As you've seen, some of the pioneers like Najatullah Siddiqui, towards the end of his life, did caution us against the culture of complacency, to look at Islamic finance and banking merely as a Sharia compliant in the sense becoming riba free, noqtah or full stop. Of course, now of course things have changed. It's been transformed into looking at the financial institution as part of the economic framework of the maqasid. which covers issues you have referred to as compassion, participation, social justice. Because without those ingredients, then this venture or instrument is merely seen as an effort at the fringe, not to offer a viable alternative to what economics and banking and financial institutions is all about. So the ethos of Islamic finance is certainly universal, because it is rooted, as I have said, the principles or the core fundamentals of Maqasid Sharia, which covers essentially the principles of fairness, risk sharing, and rejection of exploitation, which of course provide timeless guidance. Now, we cannot therefore claim that this has been achieved, but the process has been encouraging in the sense that more players, thinkers, bankers, and central bank, I'm sure, Bank Negara here included, are promoting a more serious research in this field to venture into Islamic finance in a broader framework, to give that impetus and confidence to deal with issues facing the Muslim world: inequality, poverty, marginalization, which is more problematic and serious in the Muslim world as compared to the other regions in the world. So, as the world undergoes rapid changes, Islamic finance therefore must not only adapt, introduce instruments that have been used in New York or London, but to lead. Green Sukuk can fund sustainable infrastructure. Digital platform can widen financial inclusion. Social finance instruments such as zakat, waqaf can be scaled up to uplift communities. Therefore, may I reiterate that the true measure of success will never be the size of assets alone, but the lives transformed and the future secured. So we look forward to invest in talent development, regulatory excellence, and innovation. Inshallah, we will continue to strengthen the role of Islamic finance in meeting the Sustainable Development Goals, and we will nurture the next generation of ethical generation, meaning a generation that leaders and players that believe in values, in ethical principles, who will carry the mission in the future. You know, the world, in simpler layman's term, is in a mess. We are facing, I was discussing this morning, not only tumultuous, but in ways, exasperation. Things happening, bombings, you know, in the last few days, one country, such display of madness and arrogance can cause mischief, disasters, and atrocities across a region. Of course, the worst affected Gaza, the latest Qatar, and the world, including the Muslim world, seemed helpless to deal with it. And therefore, whilst taking a strong position, a principled stance against the Israeli Zionist aggression, colonization, and display of utter arrogance and ignoring international law and order, we have therefore to ensure that we keep our house in order, do what is best, and promote ethical standards, rid our societies of endemic corruption and gross injustice and inequality, and propel our economy, including the viable and alternative Islamic economics. So may I again conclude, Dr. Mayun, by thanking you on behalf of all those players, the bankers and players and the public, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. I remember in 1983 when you introduced this, there was a lot of concern expressed by many Muslims, particularly the elites, Western trained, with Western mindset, who thinks they were going back to the age of the camel, and many non-Muslims. But I take great satisfaction that here in Malaysia, the participation of Muslims and non-Muslims alike has been very encouraging. And that shows that we can offer a viable alternative, a more just, inclusive, sustainable alternative through a more vibrant, a more relevant, a more ethical Islamic instruments in terms of banking and finance. So together, let us ensure it remains a beacon of justice, dignity and hope for all humanity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our efforts, guide our decisions, unite us in building a more ethical and equitable and more so sustainable world. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.